Hey, it's Rachel at From Moments to Milestones, and I'm here today to put together our latest card kit. This is a Christmas card kit featuring the latest stamps, dies, and papers from Lawn Fawn. There's 4 interactive cards in this kit, so you'll get the instructions. There's some pictures with the instructions to help, and if it's not helping, you can always go to our YouTube channel and watch this video to help you get through them. So let's just get started. This is going to be the first card we're going to do today, Let It Snow. This is using the waving pull tab, so it looks like he's making little snow angels. Very cute. So I'll put that over here. All right, so I do have mine put together a little bit when I was trying to make the instructions, so we'll come back to that. So the first thing we can do is put this paper onto our card base. Oh, I have an extra panel on here. I'm not sure why. Okay, here we go. So let's go ahead and we're going to put these snowflakes on the borders here. Some of them may need punched out yet. Some of the insides. It'll take a minute to do that. Okay, I have all my snowflakes punched out, and now I'm going to place those on the border. I'm just going to put some glue on the edge, and then a little bit on the back of these. I'm just going to try to center it on there. And then we'll trim off the excess. And do the same on the other side. Let's get those to match up. And we'll just flip it over and trim off the excess. All right, now we need to build the pull tab that makes our little bear wave his arms. So you should have this piece here. This little, we're going to call that the stabilizer. And then we have 2 bear arms and a brad. I hope that did not fly out of your kit when you opened it. Everyone should have one. So we're going to start with this piece here. This tall, long piece with the wings, I think I mentioned in your instructions. And there's also a score line. I don't know if you can see that. It's right there. We are going to take the brad and put it through the front. So you're going to see the score line. That's what tells you that's the front. Okay. Then we're going to flip it over. And now we're going to take our bear arms that have the X's on them. Okay. They each have a hole, and then they have an X here. And the X needs to be on top. That's how we know they're going the right way. So we're going to take these, stack them on top of each other. It doesn't matter which one's on top, just the X's should be towards the top. And we're going to stick them right onto that brad, just like that. And then we're going to open up the brad to secure it. Okay, it's going to look like that. Now we're going to take this piece here, flip it over, and this piece and flip it over. And what we're going to do is stick our bear arms into those slots. Okay, so we're going to tuck that one in, and then we just have to fold it a little bit and get them in there. So it's going to look like that. So when you flip it over, you should see your bear arms. Okay, so let's flip it back over. Our bear arms are in. And what we need to do is get this pull tab lined up here at the top with that notch that we have cut out. So you want it completely lined up and centered, okay? And I am going to take a piece of Post-it tape and just hold it in place while I show you how to do the rest, so it's not moving around on me all the time. You don't have to do this, but it might help. So that's not going to move. Now we have this stabilizer piece, and it has score marks. So you're going to fold them in onto themselves, and you're going to end up with this little, it's kind of wrap around that and hold it in place. All right. So I am going to put adhesive. So I have it all folded up. I'm going to put adhesive on the back. All right. Adhesive on the back, flip it back over. It really doesn't matter which side the tab is on, but you're going to slide it behind that long piece and pull it up so it tucks up under the wings. And then there's that score line again. If you can see it right here, that's going to be where the bottom is. So the top is where that wing is, and that's what that score line's for, to let you know. So I used wet glue, so I had a little bit of wiggle room. We're going to do that. And then I'm going to put some more glue here. And you may want to use score tape. I'm going to use a little wet glue. You don't want to use too much, because if it oozes out and gets onto your pull tab, it won't pull. I'm just going to hold that until it dries. I'm going to pull off that Post-it tape because we don't need that anymore. All right. And now, when I pull up, those are going to move, okay? So that is working. So let's make sure it's where we want it to be. And now we're going to take some foam. We're not going to put it on this pull tab here, but all around it. So it makes it easy to use that. All right, I have all my foam in place, and I'm removed the backing, and I'm just going to flip it over and put it onto my card base. I'm just going to center it on there. All right. And then you have this little piece here, and it's up to you if you want to use the polka dot side or the stripe side. We use the stripe. So it has a little score mark on there. I don't know if you can see that. We're just going to fold it in half and glue it onto the tab. So I'm actually going to pull it up. Might make it a little bit easier. Some glue on it. And then I'll put some glue on this side. And that lets the recipient know to pull. Has a little arrow on there. So now your bear should be in working order. Very cute. So now we just need to add the bear, and he's just going to go right on top. So I'm just going to put a little adhesive right there. Stick the bear where I want him. And then he has a scarf. I'll put that on too. And that card is finished. Let it snow. Okay, our next card also says let it snow, but this one is a shutter card. So it has a belly band that comes off, and when you open it, the inside exposes our little Christmas tree. So this whole outside is a Lawn Fawn die cut. So I'm actually just going to leave this over here so we can kind of see what we're doing. All right, so sit up. It. All right, so let's see. Our first step is we need to adhere these shutter pieces, okay? So I did some marking earlier onto my, so this, when you die cut this out, and it's really hard to see on camera, the die places score marks here for you to help you to know where to put these shutter pieces. So I used a pencil and I marked them here for the purpose of this so you could see them. Okay, So you're going to need this piece, and what I want you to do is go ahead and reinforce all the score lines. So these were already done for you, so they fit inside, but you have these two tabs. These are going to fold in. And here's a tab that will fold in. And then you have these two banner pieces, and we're going to fold those this way and that way. So back. So that's how we're going to do that. And then we're going to put a piece of score tape on each one, or any kind of adhesive works here. I'm going to put wet glue on this one. All right. So you can make this portion, this part that opens and closes, you can make your card so that that's at the top, or you can make that if you're designed and you want that at the bottom. But our card is going to be at the top, so this would be upside down. Those score marks, you need to make it so that the first ones are the closest to the top, okay? And then what we're going to do, we're going to keep that out, and it tucks right inside of those lines. See, there they are. And this is angled so that it fits right in there, and you're going to butt it up, and then we're just going to close that down. And since it's wet, I'm just going to give it a minute here. And then when you open it, it's exactly where it needs to be. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing on this side using those score marks. But when you do the second side, the other thing you want to keep in mind is that you want it to line up with this. So if your score marks would have you like this, you might want to go ahead and go with where that's at, if that makes sense. So I'm going to pull the tape off of this, or the backing off. And I'm going to do it upside down just because I can see it better. There's a score mark there, and it lines up. And then I'm just going to close it. Give it a good, and there we are. So now we have what it's going to look like. Okay, so now you're going to have this piece. This is part of the shutter card. This is the add-on. So without this add-on piece, makes it really easy. It die cuts it, it fits perfect, and it has the circle cut out and the stitching. If you don't have that add-on, you're going to have to cut this strip yourself and then cut out the circle, which is fine, but this is just another piece that makes it easier. So that is going to, we're going to put adhesive here and here and glue this on top. The only thing that's important here is that when you go to glue that down, one needs to be on top of the other. So it doesn't matter which one, but you don't want this, because then when this opens and closes, if one's on top of the other, it can cause trouble. It will get caught. So one on top of the other, and then I'm going to put some adhesive here. So we'll do the top first, and you can do it however you want. You want to line it up like this and fold it over. That seemed to work good. All right. Oops. Okay, and then before I put that last one down, we're going to make sure this one's down, then this one. It really doesn't matter, just so long as one is on top. And then there's that. So score tape works good here. The wet glue gives you a little wiggle room. All right, and so now that opens and closes. Now you have your shutter. Super easy. So let's see, I have some other pieces here. So you have this is from the Snow Globe Scenes Stamp and Die kit. We're gonna tuck that right inside. All right, so I'm just gonna put glue on that. And you really can't pop anything up inside there because your shutter will catch on it. So anything you put inside, you really want it to be straight down. So I'm going to open it up so I can see where it's going to land. And we have this. This is the mountain, I believe, mountain scene borders. You stamp it and then it has a die. So I'm going to glue that down. And it is a full length of a card, but we just cut it down here. All right, and then we have a bear. He's gonna go right there. And you have these little presents. And I'm gonna have him hold one. And then I'm just gonna stack a couple of them over here next to him. So one here, one there. All right, so the inside of your card is done. We're gonna close it up and we're gonna build our belly band. So this portion here. I'm just gonna set that up here. So you have two pieces that look like this, all right? They have score marks here and here, so we're gonna fold on those, okay, which I have already done. And then you're going to put score tape or adhesive just on that little tab. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna line it up. All right, so there's one. And this one's easy. We can just take that and we're gonna fold it onto itself. And there's your belly band. So that these creases aren't on the outside, that's why we folded those. So that'll be like that. So if you don't want it to have this diamond shape, you would not fold the tabs, but really once it's on there, it's not gonna make a difference. So we have this, and we have our tag, and we have a reinforcement here, a tag reinforcement. We're gonna put some glue and stick that around the hole there. And then we're gonna put the cord through and tie a bow. All right, you can trim off any excess if you want, and then we're just gonna stick that straight down. So probably just adhesive in the center. Let that dry a minute. And then that belly band will just wrap right around your card. And there it is. And that card is finished. All right, our next card is not a creature was stirring except in the kitchen. Warm winter wishes. So this card is this big lift the flap tree backdrop. So this will be probably the easiest of the cards we make. So let's go ahead and get that one done. All right, the first thing we're gonna do is put down this blue pattern paper. And we're just gonna put that in the center of the white card base. All right. And now we have this tree backdrop. I'm gonna flip it over. And what I'm gonna do is you should have these three scraps of cardstock, okay? And we're going to tape them behind the holes of the tree. So the smallest one goes in the center. And we're just gonna tape them there so that we can tuck our things in there so the tree isn't blue in the background. And I'm just gonna use some Scotch tape to tape those down. That way I'm still able to tuck something into it. So nobody's gonna see it. We're just gonna put a piece of tape behind there. Just like that. And the last one here. All right. So now when I open this flap, I can still tuck what I want to inside. if I would have glued it, I may not be able to tuck. So that's why we did it like that. Okay, now that that is done, I'm gonna go ahead and put foam on the back of the tree. All right, I have foam behind my tree. I've peeled off all the backing, and now I'm going to place it onto my card base. All right. Now we are going to take our little pieces and tuck them behind. So in that first hole, we have a little gingerbread house. So I'm just gonna, and actually it might be easier to tuck it in before you put the foam, but there's that one. And then in here we have a little mouse with a spoon, and in here a little bundt cake maybe, and some holly. So find those pieces. Put that in there, and the little holly leaves. All right, and then we have, I'm gonna go ahead and, like, he's holding that first, and then we'll tuck him in. This one may be harder actually, now that I'm seeing what's happening. So learn from me, and I'm just gonna have him peeking out. That's what I'm gonna do. Problem solved. So my little guy's peeking out of there. If you want to avoid that, we should have put him down before we tape them on. So that's my bad. All right, so this little mouse is gonna go here, and because there's kind of a hole there, I'm gonna put a foam dot there, and then some glue, and we'll just put her there. And then she's holding a little cookie, that cookie in her hand. And this little mouse is here, same thing. I'm gonna need some foam. And I don't have a mouse standing, but I have one sitting here, so. You actually probably will need two. And there he goes. And now it is time for the sentiments to finish off the card. Two banners, one's gonna go here, one's gonna go there. We're just gonna glue them down and trim off the excess. So, line there. I kind of lined up the end with the stitching, if that helps. And we'll just flip it over and trim off what we don't need. And we're gonna do the same thing with this one. And if you want to, you could put foam. I probably could have in there. Foam where you know that's gonna cross so it doesn't dip down. I'm just gonna put one right there. Flip over and that card is complete. Not a creature was stirring, except in the kitchen. Very cute. All right, one last card here. It's our Merry Christmas Magic Iris Snow Globe. All right, this may be the most complicated card we made. So hopefully I do well to do instructions here today. I know Lawn Fawn does some great tutorials on their YouTube channel. So if you want to look up, this is the Magic Iris, the intro to the Magic Iris, and she will really walk you through step by step how to put it together. In my instructions, I took pictures from her video to put into our instructions to help. So I hope this goes together smoothly. So there's a lot of parts and pieces. A lot of the stuff we're gonna put off to the side, and we're gonna just start right away and build the actual Magic Iris. So what you're gonna need is this piece that looks like a life preserver, this white ring, 3 of these stabilizer pieces, and the 3 what they like to call the sausage pieces. So 1, 2, 3. Everything else I'm going to put aside for right now. And actually you're going to need this little red tongue piece. So everything else I'm going to set to the side, and we will get started with this. So the first thing we need to do is take our sausage pieces, and they are going to go, this is right side up, they're going to go inside those slots. So you're going to tuck it into the slot and then like pull it forward so that it wraps around with the shape of that circle. Okay, we're not going to glue it down or anything, we're just going to do that. Then we're going to go and do the next one. Into the slot, pull it up. Okay, and the last one. This is easy. Into the slot, pull it up. So you have a piece that looks like this. You want to make sure they're all lined up, not like this, not too far in, but they should line up with that circle. Okay, and now you'll notice that on those sausage pieces there are X's on the one end. Okay, like scored or embossed X's. We are going to put a glue dot on each one of those, and that's what is going to stick, and that's when it's what's going to cause it to open and close. So I'm going to get, and really what you need is the small glue dot. It's like a 3/16 glue dot is what they recommend. So I'm going to get those. All right, I got my glue dots here. I am going to just use my X-Acto knife, and I'm just going to place it right over that X. Okay, so you're going to need 3 of them. 1, 2, and 3. Whoops. All right, I'm going to use the backing paper to give them a good press and make sure they're on there. All right. So making sure that is lined up the way we want it. We want all the X's on the outside and glue dots on the X's. Okay. So all lined up. And now we're going to take this white ring, right side up, and we're just going to lay it right on top, and it is going to catch. You want to make sure you rub where those glue dots are. All right. So we have that done. Now we're going to flip it over, and it should look like this. Now if you can see that when you die cut these these holes into the rings, there's like a second die that you cut the ring and then you add the die to it, and it cuts those slots and it gives you these guide marks here. This is where we're going to put adhesive to put our 3 stabilizers on. Okay, so what you're going to do is from the very edge of the inner ring to the out, we're just going to do a line of adhesive. Okay, We're going to do that in all 3 spots. So all the way in to out, a straight line. In, out, straight line. Okay. Now they recommend not using a wet glue here. You can get these stabilizers too tight and then your magic iris won't work. And so this is harder to glue up something you have glued down with wet glue. I mean, you're just going to have to rip it. This, you have a little bit more leniency there, I guess. So these stabilizer pieces are rounded on each end, both the same way, so it really doesn't matter. But that's because it's designed to line all the way up to the edge. Those are your guide marks. I'll pull it up here so you can see. It's going to go all the way to the edge. Okay? You're going to do that in all 3 spots. So, one there, and one here. All right. So this is what you end up with. Now we are going to turn it over again, and you have these 3 things sticking out. That's okay. You want to point one of them towards you, okay? So not like this. You want it towards you. And now we're going to take this tongue piece. This is actually the piece that maneuvers the iris. And we are going to place it onto our ring just like this. We're using this as a guide. And it's going to line up with the inner ring. But what you want, where you want to put it is not here. This is too far away from this piece here. What you're looking to do is to create like this little V. So right up next to it, so that you are creating this V right here. I don't know if I can zoom in so that you can see this V right here is what we're looking to create. So we're just going to put adhesive just on half of that tongue and stick it down there. Okay, now I have that tongue piece on. And so now what you would normally put, you would need a 3rd ring, okay? So it could just be another white ring normally, but when we cut our kit, we did something unique to save us from having so many layers. We cut this snow globe add-on because it has a ring built in, and we want to use the bottom portion anyway for our snow globe. There are like embossed lines here, and that is for these trim pieces to kind of tell you where to put those, okay? Oops. So there are lines. I don't know if you can see them. They're right there. We are going to cut off at that line and use that ring, okay? So I'm going to hold it up close to me so I can actually see the line. And if it's not perfect, it's okay. We're going to put that trim piece on anyway, so we're just going to follow it the best we can, and that trim's going to cover up, and nobody's ever going to see this piece anyway. So we're going to set this off to the side because we're going to need it. All right. Put our card up here so we can see what we're working on. And we're going to use this piece, okay? All right. So this does not get glued down, all right? We're just going to put it like this. And what we're going to do is put glue, the tape runner, onto your stabilizer pieces, okay? I'm just going to make sure this part that's cut off is not where these fold, and we're going to do this right here. You would put that ring down, and you're going to fold them over and stick them down, okay? But because I don't have this full ring, I'm just going to make sure that this, where it's cut off, isn't where, like I don't want it right here, because then it might not, it's not going to catch all the way. I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to make sure it's here so that it's touching everywhere all the way around, okay? Because nobody's going to see this piece. We're going to cover it up. And there's no adhesive involved, okay? We're just going to lay it down. We're going to put adhesive on the tabs. 1, 2, and 3. We're going to lay this down on top, and we are going to, this is not supposed to be tight, okay? You want this to easily push and pull. All right, so we're going to put this on, and we're just going to do this. It's not going to come all the way up. See, there is space there. You can see that. There's space. It doesn't come all the way to the edge. So we're just loosely making sure everything's all lined up in the center. And we're just going to loosely fold over and adhere. Okay. All right, I had to open mine back up because I could not get my iris to work, and I realized that the red cardstock we used here, I think, was just too flimsy. So I'm going to go and have to cut a white piece for you guys. And then you guys can use the red to cover it if you want. Yeah, that's a little frustrating. But anyway, so I'm going to put this back over here. I am going to, and the other, if you're having trouble and it won't turn, these pieces are too tight. Okay. You don't want to like really wrap it as tight as you can. You just want to loosely fold it over so all the pieces have room to move. Okay. I think that was my other problem. I have them too tight. All right. So now when I hold it, now it's wanting to start. Now it's working. So now it's kind of hard when it's not glued down to see if it works. But you should be able to hold it and be able to get it to do what you want it to do. So now it's opening and closing, okay? So if it does not open and close, I would suggest here, like I talked, do not use wet adhesive. Use something temporary that you could pull up and play with. These need to be loose. I still think this one's a little too tight. So I'm going to loosen it up a little bit. And this one here too. Okay, nobody's gonna see this. This part, that's the beauty. It's all gonna be, and so now it opens like butter. Open and closes, okay? So that's what you wanna see. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue that little bit of red on there. Because I still want it to be red. So that's what I'm going to have you guys do. That will help reinforce it. And a learning curve for all of us. You want a nice sturdy cardstock here when you're building these up, okay? As you know, your recipient's going to get it and want to just keep doing this because it's so fun. All right. Okay, so now that part is built. Now we need to build the rest of our snow globe, okay? So now we can bring over our other pieces. So let's go ahead and get this piece down onto our card base. Okay, it's opening the right way. Okay, and we are going to place this onto our card. So now we can still see these little tabs are sticking out. All we're going to do is flip that over, and we're just going to fold them back onto themselves. We're not going to tape them, glue them. They are going to stay put as we move our iris, but now they're hidden, okay? So when we go to glue it down, just make sure they stay down. The way to adhere the magic iris to a card base is you want to close it so we know where that thing is, okay? So it's closed because you don't want your card to have this thing, you know, sticking off the edge, right? So we're going to keep it here while it's closed because maybe when you deliver it, you want it to look like that so they know to pull it down and open it up. Okay, so we're going to have it closed, and we're only putting adhesive on those stabilizers on the back. So here, here, and here. That's it, okay? So wet glue's fine. Tape runner's fine. But you're only gonna put it, and like if you use wet glue, you don't want to go nuts, because if you get glue into the workings of your magic iris, it is not going to work. Okay, so with the tab facing up and onto the card, I am going to put that down. Okay, so score tape would be a really good thing here. I am out of it at the moment, and I need to remember to get some more up here. All right. And so once it's on there, this is what you should be able to do. And you can see these pieces moving. That's why it needs to be loose. Okay. So that is on there. And now we are going to build up the rest of our snow globe. All right. So we have this blue piece, and this is going to get glued straight on. So we don't have to worry about our working pieces anymore. We're just gonna put adhesive all around, and we're gonna cover up all the working parts, okay? And now I'm gonna open up my iris, really get in there if you need to. And you should have this piece, which is what cuts out of that center ring, and that is gonna pop right in there like that, all right? I popped it in too soon because I didn't put adhesive on it. So I'm going to put some glue in there. Just pop that in there. And that is on. And our little gingerbread scene is also going to go inside of our snow globe. So I'm going to put some glue on that. Stick him in there. All right, and that will not interfere in any way. Perfect. Okay, so now let's build up this snow globe. So you have the piece you cut off, and we have a portion of the snow globe. So what we're going to do is glue this to this, and then we're going to stick it on there, okay? So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue right here. And, you know, there's those lines of where it should line up. Okay, just like that. And now we have a snow globe again, okay? And that piece is gonna go here. So what I'm gonna do, we have vellum and we wanna try to hide the adhesive. So the trick will be to add wet glue around the stitched line of the snow globe, and that's how it's gonna hold it there. And we're gonna put foam dots on the back of this because this is built up. And that should hold everything in place. All right, so just the tiniest bit of glue just on the stitching lines. And if it shows up a little bit, that's all right. There are also some snowflakes we're gonna put on there, so you could always glue it that way, but this will keep the edge down nice. I'm just gonna put a block on that to hold it down while it dries. And I forgot to take the backing off the foam dots. Let me do that real quick. Now that's ready to stick down. All right, so now we have our little snow globe, and it opens and closes, and you could just play with it for hours, right? All right, let's finish decorating, and then we will be finished. You should have this piece cut out of white glitter paper, and that's going to go on your pull tab for decoration. Also has, because the red's on there, you'll have that arrow that lets them know to pull it down. Okay, and you have the two trim pieces. One is longer than the other, so you may want to make sure you know where they go before you put them on there. See, this one's too long for up there, so I'm going to put some adhesive there. Put that one down. I know my Nuvo glue is running out, so it keeps trying to dry up on me. And we'll put that down. Okay, and then, let's see. We have these snowflakes, so you can kind of just scatter those wherever you want. There, there, there. And I have a couple up here. I'll put a little one and a bigger one. Oops. And then I have a couple little ones here and here. There's one and the other. And then you have this Merry Christmas label, and you should have, and I think they're still in my, yes they are. So if you can't find them, there's a good chance they're still in your clear envelope here. You should have 2 rhinestones. So I'm going to put this up on foam. And I'm going to just center that there. And then the 2 rhinestones are just going to go over those holes. I think I'm going to use my X-Acto knife. Might be easier if I can find it. All right, there's one. And 2. And that completes your Magic Iris Snow Globe card. So, do you feel accomplished? You should. That was a lot of ins and outs, but I think this video will be helpful. You can press pause when you need to. And like I said, if my instructions maybe don't make sense, try Lawn Fawn. They have some great instructions too. So I hope you enjoyed this card kit. It was a lot of fun to create. And we got our little shutter card. And last, our little snow angel bear. So fun. So thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope to see you soon.